Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode. And as I promised in my very first episode, I'll be bringing the podcast from different locations. And today I'm in one of my favorite cities, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And it could not be a far cry from my last episode, episode 2, where I was cold. I looked like I was going to the Antarctic. So this is a fantastic change up. And you may be able to see behind me there is the Museo de Amanhã, which is the Museum of Tomorrow. So that's one of the sites worth visiting here in Rio de Janeiro. Now, what I will say is you'll hear some background noise. You'll see trams, peoples and so forth. So do bear with me, but I think it adds to the picturesque scene. Okay, so on to today's topic, which, has mixed views. And obviously I'm here to give you my views on the topic. So basically, obviously if you're not aware, dislike bombing, as it's technically called, is where, some people or group of people make a concerted effort to go onto another person's site, YouTube channel, and they decided they're going to give them a whole bunch of dislikes, which, it's not very nice. I wouldn't like it to be done to me, and I just don't think it should be done at all. But unfortunately, we live in a world where common sense, unfortunately, is not common. So that's where you have this kind of practice. And hats off to YouTube for making the effort of reducing. In fact, what am I talking about? They decided to eliminate the dislike button count. And yes, I can understand why. It does make a lot of sense, because if you're, to me, it's irrespective of what age you are, as long as you're a content creator, it's not very nice to, all of a sudden you go into your channel analytics and you see that, oh my goodness, you've got an extra 200 dislikes. And it can affect people. Again, like I said, it's irrelevant of the age group, it's the person. And yes, and it can lead to stress levels. Like I said, again, common sense isn't common, so that's the problem. As a content creator myself, I know what it's like. I look back at my first few videos, from a year ago, and it's I hope I've progressed, and it's a learning curve. So for someone to just come along and just bash my channel because they just think it's a bit of fun, I don't know. I just think it's very, very childish indeed. So yes, I do welcome YouTube's idea to remove the dislike count, and yes, it's good, but I still have some reservations about it, hence why I'm going to highlight it in this podcast. So even though they've removed the dislike button count, the content creator can still see this in their YouTube analytics. So for me, yes, while they've gone some way to address it, I still don't think it addresses the issue totally. And I think that YouTube could go a little bit further. What do I mean by that? For example, I think that it would be better if they removed the dislike button altogether. Yes, I know it's not going to be welcomed across the board, but that way, again, as I alluded to earlier, that way the creator does not get to see the dislikes at all. And I think that will help, because as I said, yes, here we go. Glorious, fantastic. So as I said, yes, I just feel that by removing the dislike button button altogether, I think that will eradicate anybody seeing the dislike. Yes, of course, you can argue that by having the some will argue by having the dislike button and the button count, you can always see very quickly. So for example, and it's one of the ways I used to judge whether I wanted to watch a video. So if the dislike button count was not marginally, was a lot higher than the like button count, chances of myself watching that video are slim to none. Again, vice versa, if the like button count is not marginally but a lot higher than the dislike button count, chances of me watching that video are going to be very high. So that that sort of was the reason for having it. But again, it's a double-edged sword. You got something has to give. Something has to give to eradicate it. And as I said, I do understand people who feel stressed going on their channel and seeing all of a sudden overnight they've got 200 or 1,000 dislike buttons, all because some people, again, who have no common sense, think it's a game. And and it shouldn't be. YouTube should be a platform for everybody to enjoy, for everybody to use. For me, YouTube should be two things: one, for information, and two, for education. That's what it should be for. But again, like I said, unfortunately in life, you're never going to get everybody to agree. But I just think a little courtesy just goes a long way. I know myself, if I see many channels, obviously yes, they could do with improvement. Maybe one can make a comment, say, oh, by the way, like your content, but if you improved on the sound or the lighting, it could be better. I think that's what I call constructive criticism, and that could be made obviously always in the comments section below. So that I welcome. But again, unfortunately, you're never gonna please people. And then that leads on nicely to my other point as well, is that the way YouTube have it at the moment, yes, the dislike button is there, but it still doesn't stop other people hitting that dislike button. And then when the content creator sees this in their analytics, it can still add to stress levels. So like I said, for me, I think if you just remove the dislike button, the count, and the actual dislike thumb, I think that will help. Or you could even go another step further and just say remove the like and the dislike button count and buttons altogether, and then that way everyone is free to just go about and just look at it without making any comments in that field. Obviously one can still go down in the comment section and make comments about a channel. So again, it is a dilemma, and like I said, I do understand and appreciate the pros and cons for it. But I just thought I'd give you my view, my take on the subject. So that's pretty much where I stand. I think personally, yes, I would prefer if they probably just removed it altogether, and then that way everyone's free to go in there and just have a look. If after a few minutes they don't like it, they can switch off. And also something else that just popped to my mind: when you have like the dislike button without the count, what I may consider a dislike may be totally different to somebody else's. Give you an example: I may not like the way a particular video is shot, whereas other people may. So the point I'm making is dislike is different for everybody, so it's not uniform across the board. So again, so you can see, just this is why I said it's not a complete black and white. It's a gray area, but I thought I'd just give my views, just what I think could help. So overall, yeah, I think just remove the dislike and the like button and count altogether, and then everyone is free to just go about, and then no one can leave sort of a negative dislike count. Obviously, unfortunately or fortunately, maybe with those people with very little or no common sense, probably a little bit more difficult for them to piece together what they want to say. Basically they're not very articulate in what they want to say, so they probably won't write very little in the comment section below. But obviously the like and the dislike button count, that's easy. You just press it and you've had they have no feelings. But yeah, but it will be interesting if one was to do that to them and see how they feel. I make a concerted effort to go on their channel and just just keep hitting the dislike button, and then just see what the ramifications are for them mentally. Because like I said, I've learned for the past year or so that I challenge anybody who has no filming or any experience, like myself, to just come on and then just be bashing other people's channel. There's no need for the negative vibe. Putting videos together are never easy. They don't come easy. Well, not to someone like myself, and I'm sure many others are like that. So I always respect everybody's views. Ooh, bit of breeze there. Yeah, I respect everybody's. Ooh, ooh, welcome breeze. Yes, I respect everybody's channels. From the very best to those midway and those even at the bottom. I find this is so ironic. I learn from all different types, even from those who are just starting out. They're not the best, and I appreciate, because some of them maybe they don't have the budget to upscale, maybe they don't have the time, so that's the best they can do. So I appreciate everybody's channel, like I said, from the very best to those in the middle and those right at the bottom. I have great respect and admiration for everybody in that regards. And like I said, putting these videos together, they take time, they really do. So just a little appreciation. Even myself, if I don't like a channel, I just move on. If I want to leave a comment, I'll leave it in the section below. Thankfully, I've got a brain, I can articulate myself. I can just give them words of encouragement and just say, look, I really like your content. If you just, I don't know, let's say for example, if they could just focus on the sound, the lighting, or their delivery, they'll be better. Leave a positive, constructive criticism goes a long way. So that pretty much wraps up everything I feel on the subject. So yeah, again, if you have any comments, you can drop them in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to respond. So I guess it's time to switch off and go and see the rest of Rio de Janeiro. Thank you very much.